And now, from the studios of TVS, we say goodbye to all that.
Please welcome your hosts for the evening, Fern Britton and Fred Dinage.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Studio One in Southampton on what I promise you is going to be a pretty special evening.
Yes, this is the very last show ever to be made and broadcast by TVS in this present franchise period.
A new company, Meridian Broadcasting, takes over this channel from midnight tonight. So we have got just an hour and a quarter left to remember together some of the best bits from the 11 years we've been on the air.
And we guarantee that there's never been a Hogmanay like this before. We've been into the archives, we've had a good rummage about, and it's amazing what we've found.
There is a lot to get through, so let's get cracking, and what better way to begin than with some of the entertainment programs produced by TVS.
We caught top bands live off the record. And we had live late-night satire in shows like Etc., featuring new comedians like Paul Merton.
A lot of people say that the government should do something about Christmas, move it to the middle of the summer, as the Australian government have done, when it's easier to get taxis and you can buy your presents in the summer sales.
No. I think the government should sell Christmas.
Yes, but Christmas takes up 15 days' worth of television. What on earth could replace it?
Well, obviously there's only one thing: snooker.
Our help squad raced round the country dealing with all sorts of problems, like trying to cure this chap's obsession with aeroplanes by giving him the flight of a lifetime. We celebrated the London Palladium's 80th birthday, and of course, there were our summertime specials. We teamed up with the Theatre of Comedy Company to bring you marvellous plays like the classic farce See How They Run, and a brand new play, A Day to Remember, starring George Cole.
Do you want me to put the telly on for you? Watch the test card or something?
No, I've seen it.
We also made our own sitcom, That's Love.
Our figures show that the most popular cover story that girls currently use is, funnily enough, a very old one. The Tarts Standby.
The Tarts Standby?
What's that, Beryl? Oh, it was used by every whore in 19th century French literature. I have only had 2 lovers before you, my darling. There was the brute who took away my honor one night when I was drunk, and the young boy who was my first true love.
We did sketch shows like Five Alive.
I think it's dead cruel to keep a budgie in a cage.
Nah, they're not like us. They don't mind. Do you, Joey?
And Kelly's Eye with Matthew Kelly, here on a first date.
It was a dreadful party, wasn't it? So many short men. I can't stand short men. I only go for tall ones.
Promising.
Tall, slim men with wavy hair.
Very promising. What do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse. What do you do?
Oh, I'm an actor.
Oh.
Mention going for a laugh and I'm dead.
So please welcome our first guest of the evening, the star of Kelly's Eye, Hotfoot from Panto in Poole, Matthew Kelly! Oh, thank you very much for coming, Matthew. You've been a good stalwart for TVS. Not only did you do Kelly's Eye,
Yeah, that was in 1985. Then it was Quandaries, which was a daytime game show.
And two telethons.
Two telethons.
You helped raise a lot of money for us there.
On the outside broadcasts, which were voted the best on the network from TVS.
Well,
you see.
there you
I'm
are,
sorry.
because Matthew did them.
But
Yeah.
that's not my favourite.
What was your favourite?
My absolute favourite programme that
Yeah.
I became a regular on
Yeah.
was Tell the Truth. I would have done, I can tell TVS this now, I would have done that show for nothing. I didn't tell them because, well, who could resist that nice Mr. Dinage for a start?
Very few of us have.
But I became a regular because I was, oh really? After. I became a filler, you see, because I live up the road. So any time they had any problem getting a lardy to come on, you see, they used to ring me up. You'd say, oh, we've got a footballer broken his leg, he can't come on, so they ring me up. I'd say, oh, come down. Oh, they had somebody who got too drunk to appear. I think that was Mr. Dinage, I'm not sure. No, we won't go into detail. They said, oh, come down. But I loved it because the atmosphere on it was great. There were no prizes. It was just a game well worth playing for its own sake. You know,
Yeah,
it was terrific.
very good game.
And Fred was just great at creating the atmosphere.
Did you hear that, Fred? I think
He's such a charmer, he is. Yeah.
Now, what's you going to do for us tonight?
I beg your pardon? I'm sorry, I thought...
You're here to do a job of work.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop around the audience because there are one or two people that I want to see, and I think we all want to see.
We do. Shall
Yeah.
I arm you with that microphone?
I'd be thrilled. Thank you very much, Fern.
Go off, and we'll see you later.
See you later.
Thanks, Matthew.
Cheers.
But sadly, it's not all been laughter over the 11 years TVS has been on the air. We've also covered the more serious sides of life, and in the process, we've taken you around the world.
We took you to Hong Kong, the colony that lives in the mouth of the dragon as it prepares to revert to Chinese rule, to New York to see how Noddy was marketed to the Americans, and even, remarkably, to the bottom of the Atlantic with the expedition that found, filmed, but left undisturbed the wreck of the Titanic. And we crossed the Atlantic with Richard Branson. His historic voyage ended in near disaster when the balloon came down in the Irish Sea. The pilot jumped out, but Branson was too slow, leaving him in sole control.
It was perhaps the loneliest moments of my life, soaring back up into the clouds. You know, although there are terrible moments, and you know, there are equally wonderful moments. But I think the most wonderful moment is knowing that one's lived to tell the tale. And one day I'll be able to have my grandchildren on my knee and tell them all about it. And of course, not just tell them all about it, but you know, there will be the TVS documentary footage which I'll be able to show them.
We spent an entire weekend at Gatwick Airport, going behind the scenes to see what makes the place tick. We went inside the royal stables to meet the dedicated staff who tend the Queen's magnificent ceremonial horses. And we were there at the very start of a life, as we examined an explosion in the number of test tube babies.
I now take the egg, and now I shall put it into the drop with the sperm. That's beautiful.
The human factor found many moving stories, like a woman determined to fly solo in the Spitfire her late husband had lovingly rebuilt.
Going solo for me will be not just the achievement of, perhaps they say, the first woman since the ATA stopped flying the Spitfire. It really, to me, more is doing it for Nick, and I'm flying his aeroplane, and I can keep his aeroplane flying. The tribute to Nick, Carol and Grace flies the Nick Grace Spitfire.
And facing south, tirelessly investigated local issues, such as the circumstances that followed the loss of the trawler Wilhelmina J.
I think what I really wanted was for someone to come through the door and to explain to me what was going to happen, insofar as this Zolfika was steaming off to Port Said, and nothing was being done about it.
For the trawler's owners, it was to be the beginning of a long and exhausting battle to find out what really caused the 6 young men to die.
The man behind that Facing South programme was Steve MacDonald. And Steve, positive things did come out of that programme, did they not?
Well, as I said, the families are very dismayed. They couldn't see that anything was happening, that they felt justice wasn't being done. We went out to Cyprus. We confronted the 2 men, although we'd been told we wouldn't have access to them. They said they felt if they'd hit anything, it was just a glancing blow. But we also obtained exclusive pictures of the Zulfikar, showing there was, far from having been a glancing blow, there was a 3-foot gape right in the centre of the bows. The 2 men were eventually brought to justice.
Steve, thank you. Joined also by Ted Harrison from The Human Factor. Ted, we saw a clip from the programme just a moment ago. What did that programme set out to do?
Really set out to show the ways in which the human spirit can be tested and can triumph. Initially we looked at perhaps cases of people with disabilities who achieve things. We went on to explore some deeper spiritual ideas as well. A couple of remarkable stories come to mind. One, a woman who suddenly found that she had the marks of crucifixion in her hands, the stigmata. And another one too, this is somebody much better known, was the ex-president Jimmy Carter. We went out to see him working as a carpenter, of all things, in Atlanta.
Ted, Steve, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Fern.
Well, now, Matthew Kelly's gone walkabout somewhere in the audience. Who have you found, Matthew?
Yeah, well, just sitting behind me is this geezer I thought actually worked for the police, but no, it's Shaw Taylor. Shaw,
Whistling Grass, how are you, Kelly?
How popular was Police 5?
Oh, tremendously. Not only popular, it also did a great deal of good for the police. I mean, they got a great deal of success through it.
You solve a lot of crimes?
Oh, particularly through the security videos.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the great ones, because a lot of shops now have security videos in them. And I would think probably about, I'm right in saying about 85% was sold. My favourite one of all time was some while ago, and a lad was stealing a video from a shop, and we had a beautiful picture of him going out like Pink Panther, clutching this video. And naturally I said, you know, if you recognise him, please ring this number at the police station. And a lady rang up and she said, I've just been watching a programme, and the man there said, if I could name the person, I'd won a video. She said, it's my son-in-law.
That's one for the library, ladies and gentlemen, Shaw Taylor.
And Shaw, keep them peeled. One of the things TVS came to do very well was drama, often using some of the best-known faces on the box.
Listen, what they developed, it's called Lotromycin. It isn't on the market yet, but it's ready. I was able to get a hold of some. I have it here.
My patient is not a guinea pig.
Your patient is dying, Dr. Jordan. Look, all the paperwork has been done. Come on. We're wasting time.
Good luck, gentlemen. The heroes told of a daring and dangerous wartime mission to penetrate enemy defenses and attack shipping in Singapore harbor. In a fictional future, rules of engagement took us to a south coast town where war clouds were gathering.
In hard rock terms, I suspect we're at 0 minus 3. And 0, for those who remember the exercise, is when the Americans went nuclear. Americans and the Russians have done a deal. No first use on either side. On their respective homelands, that is.
They're agreeing that if we have to go nuclear, we go nuclear in Europe.
We've just become the killing zone.
And no case was too tough for the all-women detective agency, Cat's Eyes. Especially when a friend is shot.
You're dirt. You're an animal.
A friend of mine is fighting for her life because she took a bullet meant for me. If it takes the rest of my career, I'll get them to slam you back inside and melt down the key.
It's not straight thinking to put yourself at risk, but something that's not necessary.
Tessa, it's necessary for me.
At least, let us give you backup.
No. If my man sees me go in mob-handed, he'll bottle out.
So, your ingenious plan is to walk back in there, confront this professional opposition entirely on your own.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the stars of Cat's Eyes, Miss Jill Gascoigne. It's lovely to see. I've been a fan of yours for years and I've never met you before.
Thank you very much, thank you. I did sound tough in that, didn't I? I'd forgotten how nasty I was.
Well, I was going to say there was so much action in those programmes.
Yes,
did you
there
actually honestly enjoy all the action?
Well, I didn't towards the end. I think I got a bit long in the tooth for it. I mean, I actually, running across very wet grass in high heels and saying freeze is a bit silly when you're over 40.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Leslie Ash was wonderful, you know. I once came to filming and found her hanging out of a window doing her own stunt. Frightened the living daylights out of me. She was extraordinary.
Were there ever any problems?
Well, yeah, there were actually, yes, we did have some problems. It was mostly with the weather, of course. I can't remember which year it was. It was one year when it was absolutely freezing cold. And we were in Kent filming, and my mouth ceased to work because it was just so cold that my top lip sort of just froze. And they had to stop filming and give me one of those mittens that the wardrobe, they always carried around with them. And I had to unfreeze my top lip, and we had to have a tea break until I could speak again. That was nasty.
It was a very successful series. You were marvellous in it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you
Ladies and
very
gentlemen, Jill Gascoigne.
We're going to take a break now, and we've got something for you to think about during the commercials. Now, I know it's New Year's Eve, but get your brain into gear and see if you can answer these teasers.
Who was the very first person to be seen on TVS?
Commercial television in the south of England.
In which year did we broadcast for the first time in 3D?
Dust in your living room.
And this series opened up a magical world of fairy tales. But what was it called?
By the following morning, it was the talking point of 1,000 languages. Death a prisoner. Muerte un prisionero. Tod ein Gefangener. Smeert us Nietzsche. I forgot the Greek. Et meritissime contenito. Exactly.
Now for the answers. The first person seen on TVS was coast-to-coast presenter Carly Disease. We broadcast in 3D for the first time in the Real World program in 1982. And this series was called The Storyteller. It starred John Hurt.
Altogether, it was a magical series. It was wonderfully done. I mean, it was expensive to do, but it was beautifully done and meant to last, I think. W.C. Fields once said that you should never act with children and animals. But I'm here to tell you that this dog was a darling, my dearie Holmes.
Welcome back. Wasn't John Hurt superb as a
He
storyteller?
certainly was. Brilliant. And the dog wasn't too bad either, was
Actually, he was my favourite.
We shall have more questions to test your memory a bit later on.
Now, The Storyteller, of course, is just one of the many highly acclaimed series that came from our children's department based at the Maidstone studios. And a whole generation has grown up with TVS programmes like this.
We made learning fun. Do It showed us how to make things, cook things, and even how to conjure up magic. Panic Station took a new look at science and how some gases burn. And an old favourite was brought back to the screen. How To. Here demonstrating the startling effects of freezing a flour in liquid nitrogen.
And It's just nearly crushed.
Good Lord.
Because it's so cold.
There were some superb animated series, like the beautifully detailed Tugs, and always ready to fly against the forces of evil, the exciting Telebugs.
All systems go Telesonic.
We made friends with the fun-loving Fraggles, who live in the rock underneath the lighthouse home of the captain and his long-suffering dog, Sprocket.
Nature can be very cruel.
We brought to life with great style Beatrix Potter's charming tale of Little Pig Robinson.
I'm going to market. I'm going to market.
We made many acclaimed drama serials too. The first was The Haunting of Cassie Palmer.
I am a spirit, a materialization. I am not solid flesh.
And then there was plenty of excitement in The Knights of God. There was excitement of a different sort in our games, like David Jensen's travel quiz, Worldwise.
Where is flamenco dancing from?
Spain.
Spain is the right answer, so well done.
And one of the fastest moving shows on television anywhere, Finders Keepers. A whole new creative world was opened up for many when we unleashed an enormously imaginative art attack.
And there you have a fantastic motion picture.
Saturday mornings changed forever when TVS came on air and took us into the house where anything could happen. Number 73. And the fun continued with the Daredevil Motormouth crew.
And here he is, star of Art Attack, Finders Keepers, Number 73 and Motormouth, Neil Buchanan. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Now, you've been with TVS, golly, 12 years since the beginning.
12 years it is, yeah. And I've actually got the dubious title of being the longest running Saturday morning presenter, so I don't know what that means.
Are you never worried about not growing up?
No, because I actually have such good fun. I mean, I've interviewed Dame Edna Everage. I've been to Buckingham Palace. I've flown on Concorde to the pyramids. It's been great fun.
And you must have had some hairy moments as well, doing live children's
The
television.
hairy moments usually involve animals, actually. We had a black widow spider that got loose while we were actually transmitting live. And
what happened?
well, it just got out of its cage. There was 3 of them, or it was a little container. It got out of, there was 3 of them. One of them escaped, and we actually couldn't find it, so they got rid of everyone in the studio, except for the cameraman and the presenters, and we had to carry on. The show must go on.
How long were you still on air for?
For 2 hours.
Oh, and did they find this spider?
Never found it. What they had to do, actually, was that they chilled the studio down to kill it. So it's still loose somewhere. So watch out.
You never found the carcass?
We never found the carcass, and it was in the studio. And I was almost hooked by a dolphin.
Really?
Yes, that's the technical term, apparently, for hooked. A frisky dolphin. I went swimming with Freddie the frisky dolphin, who apparently is the Errol Flynn of the dolphin world. And I'll leave the rest to your imagination, actually.
Has he phoned? Has he written?
He didn't actually hook me. I was quite put out at it. I don't think he fancies me at the end of the day.
Neil Buchanan, what's for the future for you?
More kids' programmes, game shows, I think, and just as long as I'm having fun and people are having fun watching me and laughing
Well,
at
from
me.
all the children in the region and all the adults too, thank you very much
My
indeed.
pleasure.
Neil Buchanan.
Now, young Matthew Kelly is still prowling around the studio audience somewhere. Where are you, big man? What are you up to?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to be really nice to this bloke now because he's the Obergruppenführer at LWT, where we make You Bet. And he's the former programme controller of TVS, Greg Dyke. Greg, you're one of the people who put this place on the map, really, aren't you? Be honest.
Well, I was here for about 3 years, had a great time.
Did you have a favourite programme?
I thought, yeah, there were a lot, but I thought The Storyteller was something very special.
Oh, not Kelly's Eye, then.
Oh, well, Kelly's I was very impressed. I also brought Fern Britton down here for the first time.
Did you really?
I did.
Where did you bring her from?
I met her in some hotel up in London.
You got any favourite memories other than that?
Well, playing for the TVS football team was quite an experience, particularly when I was a lot older than everybody else, and I only got in the team because I was the boss. And they used to kick me something mercilessly.
I can't think why, Greg.
No, I could never understand it myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Dyke.
No, don't worry, I'm actually not going to play it. TVS has always had too much respect for cultural life to let me loose on the ivories, as this next sequence will show.
In Major Series, we looked at our artistic heritage in a worldwide context, and also at the practice of a rich variety of art forms in the South today. And of course, music. Music, in all its forms, played a major part in our output, from modern classics to favourite operas, like this Glyndebourne production of The Barber of Seville. On one unforgettable night in Salisbury, a galaxy of international stars came together in a gala fundraising evening.
I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, straining upon the stars. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this chance, cry God for Harry, England, and St. John! We
also brought to the screen the diverse richness of spiritual life, from traditional carol concerts to roof-raising gospel, while Highway took Sir Harry Seacombe to unexpected heights.
Go one! Ready, Sir Harry? Go! And go three! Go four! That's it, okay, Sir Harry. Now that you've put your foot right through two of them. Okay, out! Well done, Sir Harry, that was beautiful.
Oh, the things they do for this programme. Oh, I just drop in. I certainly landed on my feet with all TVS shows. Thoroughly enjoyed working down with TVS. I can't believe it's all finished down there. Highway's finished at the end of this year, perhaps some next year. But I've always enjoyed working with you. And best of luck to all of you down there. Sad occasion, but hope you have a good laugh tonight. God bless you all. Good luck.
The wonderful Sir Harry Seacombe. Fancy shoving him out of a plane like that. Here's another hard worker, Jill Cochrane. Jill, a full life, so many programmes over the past
Where
11
did
years.
you find that? Yes, indeed.
A favourite memory or two?
Yes, certainly. Well, obviously Full Life and Englishman's Home and all of those were just wonderful to work on. Met some fascinating people. But, you know, do you find, Fred, that when you finished interviewing somebody, they sort of grip... No, perhaps not. Anyway.
No, they don't normally grip me. No.
A bear hug from Robert Maxwell was something to remember.
I bet it was.
But the other thing was a snake that I didn't interview, but someone was sitting with a snake wound around them, a python, a 12-foot python. And somebody rang in and said, how can you sit there with that great big slimy thing sitting opposite you? And I said, I think they mean the snake. and they unwound this snake and handed it to me. And when you're live on television and being paid and somebody hands you a 12-foot python,
you take it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this python wound its top bit round my top bit, but its bottom bit between my legs, and flapped its tail around, and I had an 8.5-minute interview going, wonderful.
Just a quick word from James Montgomery.
Yes.
So many shows, James, behind and in front of the camera. A quick memory?
Yes, well, I mean, one of my fondest memories is actually dining at TVS's expense at that wonderful restaurant underneath Sydney Harbour Bridge. But that was when we were filming the Hampshire Youth Orchestra. But really, tonight is a celebration for me of all kinds of unbelievably varied artistic events, whether it's the symphony orchestra programs in this very studio, or the pop musicians, or the artists, or the sculptures, or whatever. I mean, it was just the most amazing 10 years.
It's a happy occasion.
So thank
James,
you, TVS.
Jill, thank you.
Thank you.
Fun.
TVS was always willing to try out new ideas, even in drama. So do you remember our long ago visits to Radio Phoenix?
The next tour I do, it's nationwide. It's a series of benefit gigs for the unemployed. I'm trying to help. I sing. What do you do?
We keep the lid down and the sound level up with music like this. Yeah, that's what we do, eh, Mike? That's our job. We're not unemployed.
I'm not. I don't know about you.
Our first peak-time drama series was The Brief, the story of a lawyer who got caught up in a passionate affair with a girl in Germany.
Here it is more relaxed. You don't know all the lawyers and... Well, he really enjoyed himself. He felt that he was dealing with human beings.
I know the feeling.
Good.
Why do you say that?
Because I mean it.
Rivalry. Professional and personal rivalry was at the very core of the big business series, Gentlemen and Players.
Why, Michael, how nice. Playing away from home this weekend, lovely?
I'm just sizing up the opposition.
And the supporters. What are you doing here?
The reunion.
Reunion?
Yes. Well, Mr. Beaufort informed me there was to be a reunion here.
Beaufort? Yeah. I think you ought to get out of here.
Yes, I agree. Hotel foyers can be a little cosmopolitan.
Yeah, you go straight past the bar, turn to the right, and out through the door at the back.
You will meet me there?
Rami, I'm trying to do you a favor.
Rami! Keep us coming! Down with the camera!
Two other rivals came to make a team of perfect scoundrels.
I'll make a deal with you. You help me with Elvis and Bike Lipton, and I'll help you with the lady. Whatever diabolical trick it is that you're planning.
No. Now, hop it. I'm busy.
You still don't trust me, do you?
You're a con man. Of course I don't trust you.
So are you, but I trust you.
But you're a fool.
Dear Guy and Harry, thanks for all your help. I could never have got Parsons without you two. He knows me too well. Sorry I can't share the money with you, but that's the nature of the game we're in. Good luck, Bertie.
P.S. I always knew you'd make a winning team.
Bertie
Plan the whole thing. We've been conned.
And here are the two perfect scoundrels themselves, Peter Bowles and Brian Murray.
Yes!
Come and sit down. Now, this series was rather invented by the pair of you, but what was the bit that you most enjoyed, Brian?
My bit. His bits. Well, it was all very enjoyable. We had a great time. I mean, it was home. Maidstone and Kent, Maidstone in particular, was home for us both, really, for 3 years, and we had a jolly time. I just want to pay tribute to the crew on Scoundrels as well. They were a great bunch of guys and girls, and they were very much a part of the whole thing, and we had good times together and a good laugh and hard work.
Peter, I mean, you two have worked close together in much the same way as Fern and I have. I mean, do you actually get on? Is it important to get on? Are you friends?
I'm his friend. I don't know about anybody else.
I can tell.
Yes, we've known each other for 6 years. Yeah. I was his first older actor.
This is our second series. I mean, we've done 2 lots of 3 series now together, The Irish RM and Scoundrels, and that's it, really.
And I'd like to thank Mike Smith and Ken Brinsley for doing such a great lighting job on my hair. Because if they hadn't done such a great job, the series would have been known as Harry Cassidy and Baldy. Thank you very much, Jeff.
But for a couple of con men as well, I believe that you got conned out of the sweepstake.
Well, yeah, there's only one gripe I have about the crew. You see, they organise every Friday this pound draw. You get a £1 coin, you scribble your name on a piece of sticky plaster, put it on it, into the hat, and the winner takes all. Over 60 draws. I've never won one of them. And you know something? I never knew an actor or actress who did.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Murray, Peter Bowles, two perfect scoundrels.
Hooray!
Yes. We are now going to take another short break, but before we go and look at our games, quizzes and programmes made just for the South, lots of memories to come, and talking of memory, it's time to test yours again. See you in just a couple of minutes.
When Christopher Biggins first went on safari, who kept the scores? Over 2,000 editions of this popular late-night programme were made. What was it called? And who played the Santa helping wizard from Walpurgis?
Hello, Smalls. These are my best friends in the whole of Britland, your beardedness.
But why aren't you out delivering all our presents, sir?
Santa had a little accident. But if I don't deliver all those toys to all those little Smalls tonight, they'll stop believing in me.
Oh, no, sir.
You've got to do something, Majika. Leave it to me, Santa.
Now for the answers. When Christopher Biggins first went on safari, the scores were kept by Gillian Tailforth, who now stars in EastEnders.
We're trying to help him.
We made over 2,000 editions of our late-night programme, Company.
These are my best.
And Mr. Majika, the well-meaning wizard from Walpurgis, was played by Stanley Baxter.
Leave it to me, Santa.
When I came to work with kids, I thought, well, working with children, I mean, all one hears about children and animals, you know, it's get out and don't do it. And I'd been a particularly sort of precocious child actor myself when I was on radio, I remember. And I thought, well, if they're going to be anything like I was at the age of 14, I'm in for a bad time. But in fact, they were wonderful to work with, absolutely marvelous. Real little professionals. And TVS was so good to me. I had 3 seasons down at Kent. They put me up in a rather grand hotel, and they were really marvelous. I thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, I've never been spoiled so much.
TVS spoiled us all. Was a lovely man, Stanley Baxter. Now, you know that TVS made a fair few quizzes and game shows in this very studio, and many more, of course, came out of Maidstone and Gillingham. So now, a game of our own. Do you remember the names of these 10 game shows? Shout them out if you do, and see if you at home can do better than our studio audience.
Laurencio Campomanes is the president of which body? Laurencio Campomanes.
Famous Williams for 10, please.
Here's the answer. The legendary Swiss hero who was a crack shot. Rob.
It was William Tell.
William Tell is right.
In English law, your mother is your nearest relative. False. No. Dame Edna Everidge is really a man. True. Yes.
30 seconds on the clock, and the time starts now.
Heat.
Fire.
No.
Heater. Warm.
Yes. Crash.
How many stone steps led to the entrance? Alan. Yes, quite right.
Will the real Mark Stewart, Superman stunt double, please stand up? Marshall.
Marshall is not the right answer. I can throw it to the Alexander. Got to be quick.
Name the comedian who had a hit with Gather in the Mushrooms.
Dougie Brown. Yes, Benny Hill.
Remember, you're trying to think the way the public think. Now, your question, Sylvia, now. We asked them, what is the most important quality a car salesman should have?
That's what you think.
Christine.
Tickling the ivories.
Tickling the ivories is right.
And now, using the catchphrase, if you see it, say it. Yes! Smashing to see you again.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks. Lovely to be on the show.
Tell me a joke.
Tell you a joke. The audience, what happened to the audience? Terrible year, 92, isn't it? Eh? The government say, don't worry, trust us. That's like Woody Allen saying to the wife, go on, love, have a night out. I'll look after the kids.
Catchphrase has been such a winner. Have there ever been any problems?
Well, we had lots of problems. We did 4 shows a day. And I remember once we ran out of catchphrases. They were coming from America. Graham Williams was directing it at the time. And someone had let him down in America. And we had no catchphrases. So we start the day off. You get the contestants there and what have you. And we were just about to start game 3. And we'd absolutely... Game 2, they'd gone through so many catchphrases they couldn't get right. We had none left. The computers wouldn't load, what have you. So we were waiting on motorbikes, bringing them from Gatwick and Heathrow Airport from America. They were actually flying the catchphrases in. And one of the contestants, who was getting more and more nervous, they're brilliant, they're very up and high and what have you when they arrive in the studio, but the longer it goes on, the more nervous they become, as you know. And this chap was nipping back into the dressing room and having a little bit of Dutch courage. And he finished up legless. So then we had to send out for a reserve. And someone rang him up and said, are you first reserve for catchphrase for this? He said, yes, but thought no more of it, went out to dig his allotment. So I had to send a car for him, go and find his allotment, bring him in. In the meantime, the motorbike broke down with all the catchphrases. We had to send a car out for that as well.
I don't believe it.
So we got back into the studio. Within 17 minutes of starting, the chap from the allotment had won £2,600 on a holiday to Jamaica.
You're joking.
Yeah, so he did well.
You've been a winner for us, as usual. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful one and only Roy Walker.
Thank you, sir.
Now, TVS made many outstanding films over the years. Just take a look at the world-class acting talent in these clips.
The fight has just begun.
Tom Stoppard told the story of the Polish solidarity movement in Squaring the Circle. Bernard Hill was leader Lech Wałęsa.
You just want to water us down. But we're 10 million! And we won't sit down as equal partners with the incompetents and hacks. The central planners, the time servers, the seat warmers. All the ones who had the chance and lost it. You failed!
This is London.
Daniel Treventi was memorable as the legendary American war correspondent Ed Murrow.
Off to the left, I can just see the faint red angry snap of anti-aircraft against the steel blue sky. I think probably in a minute we shall have the sound of guns in the immediate vicinity.
The violence generated by the regime of apartheid within South Africa provided the background to the story of Nelson Mandela and his lifelong struggle for the ideal of racial harmony.
It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
In The Dawning, Anthony Hopkins played an IRA killer with a long-lost daughter.
Stay here for a while until I'm gone. I hope I haven't done you too much harm, Nancy.
Go now.
Right there, Major Barry!
Run, Cassie!
There was a strange encounter for Dame Peggy Ashcroft as Agatha Christie in Murder by the Book. And in Murderers Among Us, concentration camp victim turned hunter of Nazi war criminals, Simon Wiesenthal, was played by Ben Kingsley.
I keep hearing a figure. It looks like 6 million. 6 million. We must never forget, or it will happen again. That's all.
Simon Wiesenthal and I share the same birthday. He was on the move from one concentration camp to another the day I was born, 31st of December 1943. And I think it's a terrible irony. One, that we might be losing TVS as the voice for this kind of drama, and two, that we may be losing it at a time when there are people going from one concentration camp to another in Europe now. I know that there are comedies you're going to talk about. I know there's light entertainment you're going to talk about. I know there are documentaries, music programs, pop videos, all sorts of things. My bit was Wiesenthal, and I think it's a terrible loss that this kind of deeply mature, responsible broadcasting might be slipping away when Europe needs it more than ever.
Well, that I think is quite a tribute, but it wasn't just the big blockbusters that got our attention. A huge amount of time, effort, money, indeed love, went into the production of thousands of programs made just for this region. These programs reflected the lives and interests of all of us who live here in this part of the country.
We spent many happy hours discovering the beautiful country ways of our region. Learning more about our nature and wildlife. Visiting some magnificent stately homes. Getting a taste of the country, a taste of the South. We covered leisure interests, especially our fondness for all sorts of animals. And of course, our love for our gardens. We discussed matters of local concern on the political agenda. We talked to the people in power on your behalf.
Isn't this typical of the problems of overdevelopment in the South and South East?
And also gave you regular opportunities to confront them yourselves and make your points direct, head to head.
Yes, the pictures you showed weren't reflective at all of the situation in Reading. You had gaps between the cars.
We've actually learned a skill, and we've learned our own ability.
We encouraged young people to do arts work.
You can actually see the thing in front of you. You sort of feel a bit proud because it's what you've made.
Invited local craftsmen and women to display their skills in our arcade.
Glass doesn't melt like ordinary materials. It goes continuously from what seems to be a solid up to what runs like water, but there's no quick change.
And met many remarkable people, like this pub landlady who organized a relief convoy for Romanian orphans, some of whom had AIDS.
At that stage, I think the mothering instinct comes over, and I just felt that I wanted to hold this child, that I wanted him preferably to die with me holding him rather than be alone.
We ourselves did our best to help local communities throughout the South through our social action series, while everyone had fun helping through our 3 telethons.
It's just a jump to the left.
Well, we said it before and I'll say it again, but Telethon is all thanks to you, and the money raised by this year's Telethon will be distributed over the next few months. The 3 telethons raised £4 million, and, not many people know this, just about the same amount again was given out from company profits by the TVS Trust.
A couple of outstanding regional broadcasters now. First of all, my old mate Ronnie Charwood. Veronica, a lot of shows over the years.
Not so much of the old mate, thank you. It's a very sensitive subject.
You're
these
lasting
days.
better than me, I'll tell you. A lot of shows over the years. A particular memory?
Horses for Courses, I think, was my favourite. It gave me the chance to make my job out of my hobby. But we had an invitation, it was wonderful, to go to Jordan and to visit the Arabian stud of King Hussein, which was run by Princess Alia. And you know crews are notoriously cautious when they're in foreign
Film
countries.
crews.
Yes, film crews. And she thoughtfully had one of her retainers with iced water following us around because it was very hot. And one of them said to the other, sotto voce, "Don't drink the water, mate, it'll give you the squits." Unfortunately, it wasn't quite as sotto as it should have been, and she heard this and turned around and said, "I don't think you need worry about the water. I feed it to my horses."
Lovely. Jim Plague from Country Ways. What a success that show has been. Why? What's the secret?
Because it's about the people of the South, and it's of the people of the South. I think that's the secret of its success. It's them speaking.
And it's done so beautifully. Veronica Charwood, Jim Plague, thank you both very much. Well done, Fern.
Well, now it's time for the very last commercial break you're ever going to see on TVS. But we're not quite finished yet. Still to come, we've more award-winning drama, a decade of news and sport, although I'm sure it won't take a decade to look at it, and some of the moments when things didn't quite go exactly to plan. Well, nobody's perfect. Stay with us for the big finish after these memory teasers.
Michael Aspel hosted the first series of Ultra Quiz. Who hosted the second series? Questions had a long run on TVS, but in which year did David Jacobs chair the first edition? And who's this, trapped in Wonderland and finding himself accused?
That's right, darling, accused. You see, we've invited you along here so our 12 interesting guests can give you a fair trial and present you with every opportunity in proving your innocence. And then we're going to chop your head off.
Now for the answers. The host for the second series of Ultra Quiz was David Frost.
Hello, good evening, and 1,000 welcome.
The first edition of Questions was chaired by David Jacobs in 1985. And the accused in Wonderland was Bobby Davro.
Actually, I'm doing a sketch here at the BBC, Mikhail Gorbachev. You'll see it very soon. But, you know, it's nice being at the BBC, but I miss TVS. They were great days. There's so many friends I've got down there. I'd like to say hello to all the girls in wardrobe. That's you, Jan Collins. Hello, darling. Lots of little frocks that she made me. Lovely jubbly. And, of course, there was the makeup department, my favourite. Where, I hope you're out there, Jackie. Jackie Block. This is for you. I haven't forgotten about you. I miss you very much. And Roger on the cameras. There you go, Roger. Do you remember this voice? Oh, yes. Mrs. Bleasdale was a stiff. And, of course, there was Martin up in sound. A penny of 69. That was a fader. Or something, anyway. And, oh, I've got to mention Fred, because Fred is doing the linking. Fred, you right, mate? Fred Dinage? Yes, remember happy days we used to have down at the Meon Valley in the jacuzzi? And I do miss TVS. And I wish you all the very best for your last night. It's very sad, but I'll have a drink on you. God bless you.
Bobby Davro, ladies and gentlemen, lovely, lovely man. I'm making no comment about that jacuzzi at all. Here's another funny man. Matthew Kelly, what are you doing there?
Yeah, I'm with an unsung hero here, senior cameraman, Roger Backhouse. Who was that, Bobby, who was it again?
Well, that's what I thought. Bob, who was he?
Who was he, for heaven's sake?
Fair hair.
Never forget the face.
Short, fair hair.
You must have had a lot with him.
Never met him, never met him. No,
Did you have a good time on
We
that
had a great
show?
time. He was here for 5 years.
Yeah.
It was a marvellous, marvellous time. And I'm sure a lot of us here will remember it for a long, long time to come. And it says here, he is a great and talented performer, the like of whom we have not seen this century. It says here.
Thank you, Roger Backhouse.
Now, the centrepiece of any local television station is its news and sport operation. And in that area, TVS has been second to none. This is where we can boast. Coast to Coast made television history by winning the coveted Royal Television Society Award for Best Regional News Programme, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now, sadly, Mike Debbins and Liz Wickham can't be with us tonight as we look back at memorable moments from 11 years of news and sport.
my bit you've just been reading?
I don't remember that bit. Do you?
I remember it clearly, but sadly I can't tell you about it. Look, some other of our partners in crime sitting here. Oh, hello, Mai. How are you?
I'm fine.
It's a funny thing, coast to coast, isn't it? Because all it's serious, we have had the odd laugh.
Well, we do have a bit too much of a giggle. We all try to keep it very relaxed. But as you know, when you try and keep it relaxed as a newscaster, you tend to get a bit forgetful, don't you, and you start to giggle. And that nice Mr. Dinage always reminded me of the time when Carl was just finishing the weather. We had a bit of time to fill, and I thought, well, I'll tell the viewers about the TVS late news. Don't forget to watch it. And completely forgotten who was reading it, and said, well, Fred, who's reading the late news? And he looked at me and said, you are.
And Carl, it's been lovely to work with you. You've been a fantastic weatherman, you know.
I have?
You have. I can say
I'm not
that.
used to being sport like this.
No, you are. You've been fantastic. We've had some fun, haven't we?
Oh, we have. It is the last show.
Yeah.
It is a late show.
Yeah.
Remember that bed scene we did together?
Pardon?
The one for Christmas?
Oh,
all of us together, yes, singing the song in the night shirts and the floppy hat.
Oh, how can I forget?
I have no coordination. I can't sing. It was recorded at home.
And you gave
and
us
that's
all
how
a
the wife
terrible
holds me under
cold.
control. That's right.
Carl, thank you very much. Thank you, man. My favourite link, this is. Now, sport.
Very, very manly table, this. Key members of the TVS sports team. Dave Bobin, the highlight of the last 11 years in terms of sport?
You mean apart from the time Bournemouth Football Club threw you in the bath?
Yes.
My overriding memory, Fred, is about 2,000 occasions throughout the 11 years of the PA in my ear saying, drop the last story in sport, we're running over. The problem was we only had 2 stories.
Lovely. Mike Field, your favourite memory?
Do you remember when we brought 1983 Grand National winner Corbiere into
Oh,
the studio?
yes, I do.
Jenny Pittman had boxed him up from Lambourne, came into the studio, and everybody, the only thing they were worried about were the naughties on the studio floor. Corbiere was impeccable, so was Jenny Pittman.
Yeah, that's
And then there was Ian Botham.
And we're going to have, we won't go into that one. We'll have a great sporting memory now from Gareth Evans, who does a marvellous Frank Spencer impression. Can we have it, Gareth?
No, yeah, okay.
Go on.
Betty, the cat's done the woodsy on the carpet.
What a talent, Gareth Evans, yes. Very good. Thank you, Gareth. Now, I don't know why they specially asked me to introduce this bit, but we really couldn't end without remembering 1 or 2 occasions when we were slightly less than perfect.
How tough is toughened glass? Well, if you know what, I'll show. This is a piece of toughened glass. I'll show you with this hammer. Go on.
It's guaranteed, isn't it? This is a door that's never locked, because it has no lock. A door that is always open to a house that will turn no one away. It's called St. Dismas, but it tells a remarkable story. A story of a man's faith in his fellow men and his love and care for them. His name is Father Andrew McMahon, and I'm just going in to talk to him. Well, I will in a minute.
And that's all for this week. Next time we report on why the Hampshire Watercress line now stretches all the way to the Argyle. In the meantime, I've looked through the tractor hire catalogue and found a tractor to suit my needs for the weekend. So I'm off now to tour the estate. In 2 weeks' time.
So we put John on the F-Plan high-fibre diet, and 6 months later, he's lost 5 stone, as I found out when I visited him at his shop in Newport on the Isle of Wight.
You'll never guess what. They've just arrested that bloke.
What bloke, Constable?
You know, the one that's going around upsetting children and annoying their parents.
Come on, Mr.
Whack-a-day, whack-a-day, whack-a-day. Ooh, cool.
Oh, TVS made many drama series as well that were set here in the South, and one of the longest running successes has been the Ruth Rendell Mysteries.
Start packing, kids. We're out of here.
Come on and play games. Here's the game. You sing.
I knew he liked me.
I did. Now sing.
What?
Let me believe.
No.
It's all in the words, isn't it? Sing!
Stop bullying me! Wexford. No, go for him.
She's got the patience of it. It's not my patience that's in question. It's my identity. Isn't that right, Mr. Wexford? You're here to investigate.
I'm here to find the truth.
Do you want to investigate me?
Ladies and gentlemen, he survived to tell the tale. Inspector Wexford himself, George Baker!
Yes!
Oh, well, George, have you hung up Inspector Wexford's trilby for good now?
Well, I haven't hung it up, but Ruth Rendell has. We've done all her books, we've done everything we can, unless she, well, she's a pretty powerful writer anyway, but I don't think she can write 4 novels a year.
George, a lot of filming done in and around Romsey.
Yes.
How did the citizens of Romsey react to you?
Oh, well, I think they were very fond of us. I bought a very nice new jacket one day and put it on, and it was a lovely spring day, and the collar stayed up, and I thought, all the young men are wearing them like this. And I walked down the street, and one of the citizens of Romsey, very dapper little man, came up and walked beside me, and he said, "We love the series. Excuse me, straighten out the jacket." He said, "We can't have Inspector Wexford walking around Romsey in properly dressed, can we?" But I think they got used to us.
But Inspector Wexford has put George Baker now on another career track.
Yes, I'm now writing
So you'll be writing crime stories?
crime stories.
Because I suppose, you see, you've been so good at cracking these crimes now, you could not make the what am I trying to say, the perfect crime now, could you? You couldn't do the perfect murder.
Oh, I don't know, 1 or 2.
George Baker, can I say you entertained us richly. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
George
you.
Baker.
Thank you.
And, George, can I say a very happy new year? Oh!
This winter I've actually had to try and find myself some alternative employment again, which means I'm sorry I can't be with you here tonight to help celebrate this wake, but at least the best I can do is wish you all well. Hope you find some good fortune in the future.
Hello, it's my birthday today. It's also Simon Wiesenthal's. I'm sure he would love to join me in wishing everyone at TVS a very, very happy new year. And God bless and thanks for everything. Thanks for a great opportunity. Cheers. Hey, this is real, you know. This is real. Good old TVS. Classy act.
Thanks for over 100 TV weeklies with TVS. It's been great, and I've worked with some lovely people. So to all of them and all of you, have a happy new year.
Well, it looks as though I haven't entirely lost the magic touch, even without the tuft. Cheers to TVS. 3 wonderful seasons. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's awfully sad that you're finishing up. God bless.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there are now just a few seconds remaining to us before TVS hands over the right to broadcast to the south and southeast of England. We would like to take the opportunity on behalf of the chairman and board of TVS to say a few very sincere words of thanks.
Yes, and first of all, a very big thank you to all the shareholders who put their money behind the company,
To all the advertisers who made the whole thing possible,
to all the suppliers who kept the company going,
to all the people who've appeared on camera to inform and indeed entertain us,
and to all the extremely talented and creative people all here tonight who've laboured behind the scenes on all the programmes.
and above all, to you at home. Thank you for all your interest, your support and your time.
You've been a wonderful audience, and Meridian are very lucky to have you. So on behalf of everyone here at TVS, goodbye, have a great new year, and thanks for watching. Cheers!
Happy New Year!